So welcome to this session on medulla oblongata. So as we are going to study the sections of the medulla oblongata, it is very important to also know the external features of the medulla oblongata so that we can relate the external features with sections of the medulla. As all of us know that the brainstem on the external aspect, it looks like this. From the anterior side, the crus, the pons, and on the anterior aspect of the medulla, there is this fish. This is the median fissure, and these two are the anterolateral fissures. So these two are the anterolateral fissures. This is the median fissure, and then there is this posterolateral fissure. So these are the posterolateral fissures, and here between the median fissure and the anterolateral pyramid, inside which is the corticospinal tract or pyramidal tract. And on this side there are two. So these are the pyramids, these two, and these two are the olives. Okay. Then from the anterolateral fissure, now this is the median fissure. From the anterolateral fissure arises the 12th cranial nerve. The 12th cranial nerve arises from the anterolateral fissure, while from the posterolateral fissure, the 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve, they take their origin. Now, when we look, so on the anterior aspect, we will be seeing these swellings in the section of the medulla. What we'll be seeing on the posterior aspect is the lower down, in the lower part, we'll be seeing these swellings. Okay, we'll be seeing these swellings. Like anteriorly, there are 4 swellings. Posteriorly, also there are 4 swellings. The swelling which is caused by the gracile nucleus, then the swelling which is caused by the cuneate nucleus, and then there is the inferior cerebellar peduncle. So this is the closed part of the medulla. Okay, so one section goes like this, then the second goes like this, and the third one is actually in the open part of the medulla. And what we see in the open part of the medulla is we see the 2 triangles. Okay, we see the hypoglossal triangle, and then we see the vagal triangle, hypoglossal triangle and the vagal triangle, and of course lateral is the vestibular area. So this is nothing but the pyramidal shaped. This is the stria medullaris, and here is the median sulcus. Then this is the median eminence, and this is the facial colliculus. This is the vestibular area. So this is how the floor of the 4th ventricle looks like. So this part is the open part of the medulla, and this lower down part is the closed part. Okay, so the 1 and 2 will pass through the closed part of the medulla, and section number 3, which is called as the section at the level of mid-olivary level. Okay, so first section will be at the decussation, what we call as the section at the level of pyramidal decussation. Okay, where the pyramid, the inside this is the corticospinal tract or pyramidal tract. So this pyramidal tract decussates. So that is the section at the level of pyramidal decussation. Okay, the next section is the section at the level of sensory decussation. And the third is the mid-olivary level section. Mid-olivary level section. So let us start with the section of pyramidal decussation. So on the anterior aspect, this is the anterior aspect, this is the posterior aspect. So whenever I'm drawing the anterior aspect, firstly I will be drawing the pyramids. Okay. Olivary swellings not seen. This is the lowest section, the pyramidal decussation section. This is the lowest section. So here we just see the pyramids. Okay. And this section is more or less looking like the spinal cord, because below this is the spinal cord. So like the spinal cord has the central gray matter, this area will be also having the central gray matter. It will be having the central canal. what major thing happen here is the pyramid. This pyramid consists of corticospinal tract. This corticospinal tract is descending right from the base cells of the gray matter of the cerebrum, and from there it is passing through the posterior limb, corona radiata, posterior limb of internal capsule, crus of midbrain, the basal part of the pons, and it has reached here. So till this point, it is not crossed. So this side fibers are coming like this, fibers are coming like this. Now at this point, it will cross to the opposite side. So now the crossing starts, and these fibers, they cross to the opposite side. And as they cross to the opposite side, they form what is called as lateral corticospinal tract. So at the level of pyramidal decussation, when a section is, you are told to draw the section, this is the key thing you have to draw, the lateral corticospinal tract. So from pyramids, the fibers are going and to the opposite side. Okay. Then posteriorly here, there is the gracile nucleus and the cuneate nucleus. Okay. So this is the tractus gracilis and then tractus cuneatus. Here somewhere will be the spinal nucleus of the trigeminal along with the trigeminal tract. Okay, the spinal nucleus of trigeminal. So these are the key things which have to show in this section. This side, suppose you are going to write the ascending tracts. So you have to draw 4 tracks like this in the ascending tracks. The ventral spinocerebellar, then anterior spinothalamic, and the lateral spinothalamic. Olivary tract. Spino. So this what I'm drawing is spino olivary tract. Okay, the spino olivary tract. So 4 ascending tracts: 2 spinocerebellar, 2 spinothalamic, ventral spinocerebellar, dorsal spinocerebellar. Okay, ventral spinocerebellar, dorsal spinocerebellar, anterior spinothalamic, lateral spinothalamic, and spino olivary. Now this side will draw some descending tracts. So here we have drawn spino olivary. Here exactly we'll draw olivospinal tract. Olivospinal tract. Then here we will draw the tectospinal tract. And one more tract can be shown here, and that is the vestibulospinal tract. Vestibulospinal, and here we can show rubrospinal tract, and then we can show the medulla pons. We have to show the reticular formation. Okay. So again, this is the lowest section amongst the 7 sections of the brainstem, and this is called as the section at the level of pyramidal decussation. Section at the level of pyramidal decussation. So in this section, anteriorly we should expect the pyramids to be drawn. This is drawn more like a spinal cord. We draw gray matter in between, central canal. Posteriorly, we should expect This is the gracile nucleus, this is the cuneate nucleus, and the spinal nucleus of trigeminal. Main feature is we have to show the pyramidal tract going like this to the opposite side, forming lateral corticospinal tract. Lateral corticospinal. Section. This is the section of at the level of pyramidal decussation. So now we are going to talk about the section at the level of sensory decussation. Okay, so after pyramidal decussation, we are going to draw the section at the level of pyramidal decussation. Now again, whenever we are drawing the section at the level of pyramidal decussation, our principle will always remain same. Whenever this section, will be firstly drawing the external features of medulla. So anterior aspect, we see pyramids, then olives. Pyramids, midline, anterolateral fissure, olives. Okay, and from the anterolateral fissure comes the 12th cranial nerve, and from the posterolateral fissure come the 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve. On the posterior aspect, again we see some swellings. That is the swelling of the gracile, swelling of the cuneate nucleus. Okay, and then the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Okay. So now when we draw the section at the level of or when we are counting from below, the lowest one is the section of pyramidal decussation, which we have studied. And now we are drawing the section at the level of, we are drawing the section at the level of sensory decussation. So whenever we are drawing the section at the level of sensory decussation, what we do is, we from posterior aspect, we should expect gracile and cuneate nucleus. So firstly, this is the swelling for gracile, and this is the swelling for cuneate nucleus. Okay, then there will be the spinal nucleus of trigeminal, and then anteriorly, this is for the olives, this is for the pyramid, olive. Okay, so the first thing I draw on the anterior aspect is the two pyramids. These are the two pyramids. Then here in this region, I draw the inferior olivary nucleus, which are forming the olives on the anterior aspect. Okay. Now posteriorly, I draw the gracile nucleus. And next to gracile nucleus, I draw two cuneate nucleus. Then next to it, I draw the spinal nucleus of trigeminal. Spinal nucleus of trigeminal. Okay, and in the center, I draw the gray matter, and in the gray matter, again on the posterior aspect, all of us know that there is the vagal triangle, and then hypoglossal triangle, vagal triangle, a hypoglossal triangle medially, vagal triangle laterally. So the hypoglossal nucleus, vagal nucleus, and the nucleus of solitary tract, they will be here. Three nuclei will be inside the gray matter. One will be the hypoglossal nucleus, vagal nucleus, and nucleus of the tractus solitarius. So hypoglossal nucleus, vagal nucleus, nucleus of tractus solitarius. This is the central canal. Well, these are the nuclei: hypoglossal, vagal, nucleus of tractus solitarius. In this section, the major thing what you have to do is this. These are the second order neurons for the tract of Gall and Barda tractus gyrus, which is carrying the general sensations of the body. So from here, the fibers now have come up to this point, and now they go to the opposite side, and here they form what is called as medial lemniscus. Medial lemniscus. So this is the key feature you have to show, medial lemniscus. In the remaining part, then you can show this design of dorsal spinocerebellar tract, ventral spinocerebellar tract, anterior spinothalamic tract, the lateral spinothalamic tract, okay, spino-olivary tract. These five things remain same as the previous one. Ventral spinocerebellar, dorsal spinocerebellar, ventral spinothalamic, lateral spinothalamic, and spino-olivary. This side we can show some descending tracts. And among the descending tracts, what we can show is, sorry, this medial lemniscus I have taken, I have drawn slightly on the lateral side. It will be more close to the midline only. That's how it is called, medial lemniscus. It should be shown slightly in this area. Okay, okay, the tectospinal tract, and we see the vestibulospinal tract. Then we see the olivospinal tract, and also we see the rubrospinal tract, rubrospinal tract. And again, not to forget the reticular formation. Reticular formation. Okay, so in this section, which is called as the section at the level of sensory decussation, what we do is we draw two swellings anterior aspect, two swellings on the posterior aspect. Posterior aspect swellings are gacile and cuneate nucleus, and anterior aspect swellings are the pyramids, the two pyramidal swellings and two olivary swellings. Main thing we show is the nucleus, the fiber is going to the opposite side, and in midline, ideally this should be shown at this level only, forming the medial lemniscus. Medial lemniscus. And then we showed the two spinocerebellar tracts, the two spinothalamic tract, olivospinal, spino-olivary tract. This side we show tectospinal, olivospinal, vestibulospinal, rubrospinal, and we show the reticular formation. So that is all about the section at the level of sensory decussation. Okay. So now we are going to talk about the third section of the medulla. That is the section of the medulla at mid-olivary level. When we are drawing the section of the medulla at the mid-olivary level, we need to again understand that so when we are talking about the section of the medulla at the mid-olivary level, we have to understand that anterior aspect, yes, anterior aspect, the medulla, we see the crusts like this, and we see the pons like this, and then we see the medulla like this, and we see these two pyramids, two olives. Okay, anterior aspect remains same. Posterior aspect here will differ, because posteriorly what happens is the lower part of the medulla, we see this swellings of gracile nucleus and cuneate nucleus. Okay, and but when we go to the upper part of the medulla, now the central canals opens up and forms the fourth ventricle. And here we see the hypoglossal triangle, then we see the vagal triangle, and then the median sulcus, and then laterally is the vestibular area. So we'll be seeing the vagal, hypoglossal first medially, and then the vagal. Okay, so what we are expecting on the posterior aspect is something like this. Okay, the hypoglossal triangle, the vagal triangle, and then the vestibular area on the lateral side, vestibular area. Okay, and the open will not see a central canal, will not see the central gray matter, we'll see this thing open. So when we take a section at this level, the section and the anterior aspect, of course, anterior aspect, the section will remain same, pyramid, then olive. Okay, so we'll see the pyramid which has not yet decussated, and the below level it will decussate. Then we see the inferior olivary nucleus. Okay, and then the medulla opens up in the center. Yeah. And then we see the inferior cerebellar peduncle over here. Inferior cerebellar peduncle. Okay. In the midline, we see three structures: the medial longitudinal fasciculus, the tectospinal tract, medial longitudinal fasciculus, tectospinal tract, and the medial lemniscus, which is formed at the level below, and now it has started ascending up, the medial lemniscus. Okay. Then we here we will be seeing the what is there on the medial side. Firstly, hypoglossal nucleus. So we'll see the hypoglossal nucleus. Then what we see, the vagal nucleus, and then the vestibular, hypoglossal, vagal, vestibular. So hypoglossal, vagal, and vestibular. So this is vestibular. This is vestibular. Okay. This is inferior cerebellar peduncle. Okay. And then here we see the ventral spinocerebellar tract, but dorsal spinocerebellar tract we are going to show inside the inferior cerebellar peduncle, because it is the one which enters through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Then the anterior and the lateral spinothalamic tract will be seen here. So this is the anterior and this is the lateral spinothalamic tract. First, the reticular formation has to be shown. Some important nuclei which we need to show on this level is nucleus of Tractus solitorius. Nucleus of Tractus solitorius. Okay, so this is the nucleus of Tractus solitorius and the nucleus ambiguus. Nucleus ambiguus. So these are the important things which we need to show here. We will also be seeing the vestibulospinal tract, yeah, and we'll be also seeing the rubrospinal tract. And the rubrospinal tract. So if you observe that, suppose there is a midline lesion, suppose there is a midline lesion which is called as medial cerebellar medial medullary syndrome. Medial medullary syndrome. What happens in medial medullary syndrome is these midline structures will be affected. The hypoglossal nucleus, then the medial lemniscus, the pyramidal tract. Okay, so in medial medullary syndrome, the medial medullary syndrome, which is also called as the Dejerines anterior bulbar syndrome or Dejerine syndrome, there will be three structures affected: hypoglossal nucleus, okay, hypoglossal nucleus, then medial lemniscus, and pyramidal tract. 1, 2, and 3. The effects of this will not be so prominently seen, but these effects are prominently seen. So this pyramidal tract. So when the pyramidal tract is gone, there is contralateral hemiplegia. When the pyramidal tract is gone, there is contralateral hemiplegia. When the medial lemniscus is gone, there is contralateral loss of sensation, general sensation. Contralateral loss of general sensation. And when hypoglossal nucleus is gone, there is ipsilateral paralysis of the tongue. Ipsilateral paralysis of tongue. So three things that happen in medial medullary syndrome. The blood supply of the medulla is from the anterior spinal artery, posterior spinal artery, and pica. The blood supply is from by pica, posterior inferior cerebellar artery, which mainly supplies the lateral area. So in case pica is affected, there is lateral medullary syndrome. The other name for lateral medullary syndrome is Wallenberg syndrome. Wallenberg's syndrome. Okay, so now let us see what all things can get affected. So these three median line structures, apart from that, the other structures will be affected. So what is affected? Inferior cerebellar peduncle. Once inferior cerebellar peduncle is affected, that leads to ataxia, no equilibrium or loss of equilibrium. Okay, there is loss of equilibrium, there is giddiness because of this. Okay, so loss of equilibrium and giddiness. Then what is affected? Okay. The lateral corticospinal tract. Lateral spinothalamic tract. Sorry. Lateral spinothalamic tract. So what happens when lateral spinothalamic tract? The pain and temperature, okay, of the opposite side. So contralateral loss of pain and temperature. Lateral spinothalamic tract. Then what is affected? The here we have to show also the spinal nucleus of trigeminal and the trigeminal tract. So when the spinal nucleus of trigeminal is affected, so what happens is the ipsilateral loss of pain and temperature on face. Then here is nucleus ambiguous. So nucleus ambiguous is the one which gives fibers to the larynx, to the pharynx. Okay. So therefore, because it supplies the muscles of pharynx, there will be dysphagia. And because it supplies the muscles of the larynx, its paralysis can lead to dysarthria. So difficulty in swallowing and difficulty in talking. In speech is a better word. Okay. Then here we also see vestibular area, vestibular nucleus. So vestibular nucleus is affected, and this can lead to vertigo, vomiting. And then here we see the reticular tracts, and then there are descending autonomic fibers. The descending autonomic fibers, this leads to Horner syndrome. Horner syndrome, you know that there is ptosis in the Horner syndrome, and then there is loss, there is anhydrosis, no sweating. Many other things are there, enophthalmos, meiosis, loss of the ciliospinal reflex. So pica, posterior inferior cerebellar artery, it supplies the lateral part of the medulla. A lot of structures in the lateral part. The inferior cerebellar peduncle is there. Then the lateral spinothalamic tract. So pain and temperature will be gone. Vestibular nucleus is there. So this can lead to the vertigo. Then there is descending autonomic fibers. This can lead to Horner syndrome. Nucleus ambiguous. This can lead to dysarthria and dysphagia. So that is about all about the three sections of medulla and its applied anatomy. Thank you so much.